What is going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB post-trade deadline live before lock. I'm Eric Lindquist. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist over on X. We are sponsored today by DraftKings Best Ball. I'll be talking about all the goodness that is, but you guys know where to find DraftKings.com, either on your app or on the old laptop. You got an opportunity right now to draft a $20 best ball lineup and get a share of $15 million in the main contest, and you'll get an additional ticket. So 20 turns into 40 in tickets. That is some great equity to jump in. So check out DraftKings.com, head to the best ball lobby, and start drafting today. But I'm joined as always. Well, not always. As always this week, which has been fantastic. It's been a good week from a DFS perspective for me. Had a decent enough day yesterday. Matt Bellman, Fantasy Tips Matt over on X. My friend, the trade deadline. I have nothing to live for.
Man, do you guys even have a squad anymore? What a fire sale for Minnesota. I respect it, though. I mean, if you're going to go down, might as well deal. I mean, and I saw your tweet. Like, I get it. Why not deal Joe Ryan if you're going to deal everyone else? But he is under control for a while. At least he's not a free agent after this year, and he's their best asset. So no saying that they can't deal him over the winter if they so choose.
Yeah, well, that's going to be what we have to do because he's going to command a lot of money. And if we don't pay him, he's probably going to hold out and it's going to be a disaster. So, again, Joe Ryan is a very valuable pitcher, the one pitcher that has really played himself into a gobsmack of money. But we have like two players under control next year, Buxton and Pablo Lopez. Those are the two. What a time to be alive,
wild,
man. I have no words, but I also have no words for this 2-game MLB slate where I'm playing one lineup. We've got all of a 20-minute show coming your way, 25-minute show. I apologize. My Photoshop is ruining my life over on my laptop. But anything you want to point out here before we dive into this slate? Because, yeah, we'll talk about trade deadline stuff at the very, very end if we really want to. But I want to get DraftKings, FanDuel, everybody an opportunity to get their lineups covered.
On what?
Oh, it just completely cut out. You just completely cut out on my end. Is that just on my end? Yeah.
I hear you.
No, there you go. Now I've got you back. You were just gone for a second.
All right, cool. So yeah, I was saying if leverage is your jam, it's the slate for you because you got really heavy ownership on Kirby specifically, and then Cincinnati's going to be really high owned by.
You just went into the robot thing again. Why don't you leave and come back into the room as we start to break down some of the pitchers? Because, yeah, it just completely cut out on my end. And I think everybody in chat there, you were back for a second. So, yeah, just leave the room and come back. We'll see if that fixes that issue. But we've got a little bit of an issue when it comes to just having 4 pitchers on a slate. They're all functional in terms of like what we expect the workload to be. So that's cool. But there is a definite discrepancy in talent. George Kirby, Andrew Abbott, confirmed a little bit better than Kamara Rocker and Carlos Carrasco. Cookie Carrasco, he's going to be the one that everybody wants to target against here in this spot. But I look at this right now. Let me just remove him and see if I can add him back here. We'll see if he can get back here in a second. But I definitely want to be getting myself to some kind of leverage on this slate because I know George Kirby and Andrew Abbott are going to be crazy, crazy popular. So the question becomes, which one am I willing to live without? So Matt Bellman back here in business. If you had to pick one of George Kirby or Andrew Abbott to have in your lineup today, if you're not going to play both, because we can assume that they're by far the chalkiest options and should be, but who are you more comfortable getting away from?
I mean, definitely more comfortable getting away from Abbott, but it's a tough comparison because Abbott is much lower owned. Like Kirby's projected to be 80% owned. I mean, Rocker's projected to be higher owned than Abbott. So, do you feel comfortable getting away from Kirby or not? I don't, even though I certainly see scenarios where he isn't like amazing here. Texas has a good offense in my mind.
Yeah, Texas has a good offense at times in Seattle.
They have a good lineup on paper, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of accumulate the XWOB as you take a look at it. They're above average, and they should be, but I haven't always played like it here this season. I think that there's a lot of ways that we can find leverage on this slate. I think it's single entry. I'm still going to fire up George Kirby, though. I think Andrew Abbott's the one that I'm going to probably get away from and fire up some Atlanta bats in a Great American Small Park, which hasn't played that small over the course of this year. So keep that in mind. We do look as though no weather concerns. I saw people talking about weather there for a second. Absolutely no weather concerns here on this spot. But I think George Kirby's the one that I'm going to still fire up between the two. There's just such a big projection difference between him and Abbott here. And then Rocker ends up being the guy who's pulling the second most ownership because he's 7,300. He's pitching in Seattle. He's been better over the course of the last month, but I'm not going to say I have workload concerns because I don't. I said that at the onset of this program, but I don't know if they want him necessarily to be pitching deeper into some of these games. I mean, he's gone 96, 95, 6 1/3, 4 innings. Anything you're able to get from him. I mean, this is a fully operational Death Star that Seattle now is rolling out on a day in, day out basis with Naylor there, with Suarez there. I definitely think Kumar Rocker, though, has to have consideration here for single entry. I mean, I'm not going to play Cookie Carrasco. I'm not going to get that different on this two gamer. I have liked to do that kind of stuff on two gamers in the past, but what are your thoughts on Kumar Rocker specifically?
Yeah, I don't feel good about it, but like in Seattle, facing a ton of righties, I don't have like workload concerns. I have how well he pitches concerns. Like he's got blow up. Certainly he can get blown up every time he steps on the rubber, but he's got good stuff as evidenced or as, established by the fact that he's dominated pretty much every level he's ever been at aside from the major leagues. He's had some good moments this year. He's too cheap for this spot, for this slate. If I were playing one lineup, it would be Kirby, Rocker, but I also don't mind using some I don't mind using more than one Seattle bat in lineups against Rocker. Such a small slate. You're hoping for strikeouts, and then if Seattle can hit a couple home runs, like this is definitely a slate, a 2-game slate where you could see a pitcher and the opposing stack be optimal. Like it's not that far-fetched even at all.
Yeah, it's such a weird individual two gamer. Are you going to put any kind of rules in place or anything that like when you're hand building out your lineups on a day in, day out basis? I guess it doesn't matter as much, but is there a couple of batters as we get into, or before we get into the stacks, that you specifically want to have up against a Rocker lineup? Like you have Rocker in the lineup. Is it just Cal Raleigh and Henry because they hit bombs?
I mean, Cal Raleigh for sure, just because the difference between him and every other catcher is pretty massive always. And then all those guys, like that's the thing about Seattle, especially now after that trade, like they've got home run potential, like basically 2 through 7. So I think Raleigh's the best one. He's also the most expensive, which like he's the easiest to see why you would spend down on Rocker and then up on Raleigh. But Julio Rosarena is having a really good year. He's hot right now. Naylor, Suarez, they're all in play. I think you can stack them for sure if you're not playing Rocker. If you're not playing Rocker, I like the stack a lot. And if you're playing Rocker, I could use 1, 2. I think 3 are probably getting a little bit crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if 3 ends up on the optimal.
Yeah, if 3 end up on the optimal, it feels as though a spot where you've just got 3 individual dongs that you kind of pulled out of thin air for it. Or, I mean, again, winning the position is one thing too. Cal Raleigh, he projects for like 3-4 more fantasy points every single day at the catcher position than everybody else. Now, today, I think it's
like there's also just like, I don't mean to cut you off, but like let's say in the first game, Carrasco isn't good. Like he gets hit around, the Cincy stack is good. And then Abbott just doesn't get a lot of Ks. Like Atlanta stack isn't good, but he isn't that good. All of a sudden, if you get like 6 or 7 Ks from Rocker, he can give up 4 or 5 runs and still get there.
Yep. Agreed. Now, FanDuel's more interesting, I think, for this 2-gamer purely because you're only playing one pitcher, and I'm less inclined that you have to like stack up against her. I'm not even going to use the word stack. Have batters against your pitcher. I think it's just fine on DK to some extent, but on FanDuel, I probably would get away from doing it crazy amount. You're still trying to move the line and get your 4-mans to convert, but Cookie Carrasco is 3% owned. He's pitched pretty well in AAA, and at 7K, if he gives you access to a full Atlanta stack where he would end up getting the win if they go completely nutties potentially. And then you also have Cal Raleigh, you have, and Eugenio Suarez, you have like an interesting situation on FanDuel where they're more popular. I mean, Noelvi Marte batting second out of nowhere. He's your chalk going up against Carrasco there. And I don't hate the idea of like a batter against Carrasco if need be, but I think this would be the spot if I were going to be playing one lineup and have Carrasco, I'd play it on FanDuel more so than DK. I don't really have workload concerns for him. I said that at the beginning of the show. Yeah, he didn't go crazy long at the big league level, but it's been like 3 months since we saw him at the big league level. And he's been legitimately all right at AAA. 2.23 ERA, 0.93 whip in 32 and a third innings. So not a zero sample size. Are you as crazy as me where you would maybe roll out a Carrasco lineup? I'm not playing FanDuel for what it's worth, but how do you feel over there where you have George Kirby pulling 67% ownership?
Yeah, funny that he's like less owned on FanDuel. Well, not really, because you have Strasser too on DK. What am I saying? Yeah.
Okay. It's 200% of ownership as opposed to 100% of ownership.
Right. One of those just moments that we'll forget about quickly, or I will at least. I'll try to. Carrasco, I don't think it's crazy at all. I mean, I think all these pitchers come with risk. Certainly he's the worst fantasy pitcher on the slate, but I mean, he's going to be the most leveraged pitcher on either site. And as you alluded to, he's been okay in the minors. We know that he's one of my favorite, like, just base athletes ever. Just he's not good anymore, but he was really good with Cleveland for a long time. Chose to stay there, unlike a lot of guys, very few guys choose to stay in Cleveland. So he'll always have a soft spot in my heart. I don't like him tonight, but it's like all it takes is him to be okay and the other pitchers aren't great. On paper, I like the red stack a lot, but it's not like this lineup doesn't have holes. They strike out a ton. If Carrasco is if he has his best stuff tonight, I could certainly see him pitching well enough to be on the winning lineup here. Like, it's not the route I'm going, but I get it. I understand why he's 20% owned on DK. He's way low owned on FanDuel. Like 3% is pretty wild on a 2-game slate.
Guys, hit that like button because Matt Bellman and I, we have locked there. We're going to go the 5 minutes extra just because, we'll talk some deadline stuff. We can shoot the shit a little bit and obviously talk a little about DraftKings because the best balls, they are in full operational. And we get news. Terry McLaurin's asking for a trade. He's connected there to Cleveland to the state of Ohio. That is an Ohio State stud he was. And Terry McLaurin, an absolute beast in the NFL here as well. Jaden Daniels needs a dance partner, and Noah Brown ain't it. So there you go. Wild times there in Washington this season. No idea what they're going to be rolling out on a day in, day out basis if they don't have Terry McLaurin in there. But boy, oh boy, great time to jump into the best ball streets because you're going to see some fluctuation there. I also think, you talk about other places. Well, DK giving you that offer to get a $20 best ball lineup in addition to the $20 lineup you're throwing out there. Not seeing a lot of other deals from best ball sites or from anybody else right now at the moment. And that creates opportunity for you to jump in, really up your equity with 2 tickets for the price of 1. Check it out at the link below, DraftKings.com, on your app or on the website. All right, Cincinnati on DraftKings. They are your chalk du jour. You get some cheap bats up there in the top of the lineup here because, again, you now have Noelvi Marte batting second out of the middle of absolutely nowhere. I tried to snipe some numbers on him there. 4,300 is what it is. And Cabrian Hayes now, great defensive pickup for Cincinnati, probably the best defensive third baseman. He's going to be out there at 3K there. There's a little bit of overlap. But my big thing about Cincinnati, no multi-positional eligibility for a single batter in the entire lineup. That's pretty wild. I kind of like pulling the trigger on a lot of Cincinnati if you're playing large field. I'm not today. I will not be stacking them up in single entry. I'll be playing Marte on the DraftKings side of things. But how do you feel about Cincinnati being our most exposed stack on this 2-gamer?
Yeah, I like them too much here. I think they're the best stack, like by far on paper.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock me at all if Seattle got to Rocker, Texas got to Kirby. I mean, those offenses are competent. Seattle's offense very good. Atlanta could get to Abbott. But ownership is pretty much like owned where it should be. Cincy with a 34% chance of being the top stack, 34% ownership. Atlanta 27 and 27. Seattle 22 and 21. Texas 16 and 16. When the numbers are like that, I often lean to just playing the best stack. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to play Cincinnati. I'm playing a few lineups tonight. And I'm going to get some Cabrian Hayes here. I love plays like that on slates like this where if he beats out NoVig Now, like you're in a really good spot, and it's baseball. So like, sure, I like NoVig Now more, but it's baseball, and I love getting to plays like that on slates like this. So I'm going to get heavy exposure to Cincinnati. I'll be over the field on pretty much every hitter in their lineup.
So the main reason that I'm going to go Seattle, and I think it's a really, really good stack, is the lineup isn't out yet. If the lineup was out right now, I think we would probably see them pulling more ownership. I don't think we get any surprise like a Mitch Garver catching kind of a deal instead of Cal Raleigh today, especially with Suarez there. They want to run out the Death Star. They want Julio 2, Cal 3, Suarez 4, Naylor 5. Randy Arozarena is going to be batting 6th for this team. I mean, I would almost urge them to slide everybody up and move JP Crawford.
I think they're going to do that.
You do?
I think they're going to do that. I do. I don't mind if they don't do that. I think Crawford's competent, but I do think at this point they're better off like having him hit 9th and it's like a second leadoff guy and just moving everyone up a spot. I totally am with you there.
Well, let's build this out then, because I think it's a huge game theory edge if we can figure out what's going on with this Seattle lineup. We've got 4 minutes until lock, so I want to do this. We're in DraftKings. I think we can agree if we're going to be playing Seattle as a stack, Kirby Rocker, probably the best combination for tournaments.
I think you have to, even though you're going against Rocker. I mean, you could do Kirby Abbott. I think you meant Carrasco where you might need to go instead of Rocker.
Right. Carrasco instead of, that's fair too. I mean, a little bit more expensive. So we can go way down there to 6K here for the time being.
Well,
but
do you want to stack against Rocker and use him is the question.
That's fair. I mean, that's an option. That's exactly what you're saying there. Let's try it with even just like the Andrew Abbott version, like the standard version here, where you go, our boy Canzone, I would assume that he's in there against righties still, batting 8th or 9th probably. Nothing's really going to change as far as that goes. What else do we want to kind of package in there? Because we have so many options now on the Seattle side.
Yeah, this is why like using Rocker with Seattle is wildly in play, because they are like impossible to get with Abbott and Kirby, and Carrasco stinks. So like the options are limited. I mean, it's hard to choose like who you want most from Seattle. Canzone fits really nicely. I feel like you got to play JP Crawford too because he's cheap.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. I mean, whatever this salary iteration is, I mean, getting access to like 1 or 2 bets, that's kind of my deal. I already talked about it. Instead of Suarez, who's the new shiny toy, I did think that going like either Marte or Cabrian Hayes. I mean, you brought up the Hayes piece. We can maybe even piece that together. $39.50 per player, but like there are ways that you box yourselves out of this stack appropriately if Garver's catching, if Young isn't available, if Polanco's out playing second today, like for whatever reason. Like there's so many different ways that things could roll out for Seattle that just make it difficult.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you do, to your point, get like a Cole Young at second base, it makes the stack a lot easier because like you don't really want to play guys like that, but it's a small slate and you really can't just like looking at this. And I've obviously been looking at it for a while, but you can't really stack like 1 through 5 or 2 through 6 Seattle on this slate. Like you just like, I don't even know how you're going to do it unless you play Rocker and Carrasco. So you're stacking against your pitcher and then using Carlos Carrasco. No thanks.
Let's get the dong of the day out for the people here before we get to lock. Dong of the day, dong of the day. There you go. We got it covered for you. Matt Kajeski, I would like to know who's going to go yard in your lineup today.
Well, you better go text Matt Kajeski then, because I am not him. So I can tell you that I think the home run today will be Jake Fraley.
Jake Fraley. Matt Kajeski. Oh, my Lord. Did I call you Matt Kajeski? I just saw his name from Benny Tingman. He literally just said, "Where's Matt Kajeski with preseason?" So I literally
that's
just played my name or played the name game immediately there. Duke didn't like it either. So there you go. I'm going to go somewhat chalky here for the day. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit different. Dominic Canzone. We're going back to our guy. I assume that he's going to be in there batting 8th. Again, there's no guarantees on what we get from the Seattle lineup. So have some ideas in your head about how you want to get a little bit different, how you want to piece things together if that lineup shows up a little bit different. Eric sounds like he needs a drink after the Twins moves. Who's to say I haven't been drinking? I have seriously been thinking about it. No, it's just caffeinated and being my normal self. We got Cal Raleigh. Way to get different. So text Ozzy Albies from Malachar, throwing it in there as well. Overall, just it's an interesting 2-game slate. We'll see. The Seattle lineup is going to dictate a lot of what I end up doing, or it might box me out of some combinations that I was hoping to be able to get. But I have enough versatility there in that lineup with a number of pieces that I should be able to make it work. Suarez as well. Again, I kind of think Suarez, we're a little bit low on what his projection is going to be. The new shiny toy there in Seattle, 24% as opposed to Marte, 35%. I guess we'll be able to take a look here at ownership. But before we get ourselves the heck up out of here, listen to the beautiful tones of one Greg Ehrenberg, who's on vacation, but going to make a debut for 1 minute and 1 minute only.
It's best ball season, and DraftKings is giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $15 million best ball contest for just $20, and you'll score another best ball ticket to play free for a share of $15 million, giving you a second chance to win big. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now to draft your $20 best ball lineup to play for a share of $15 million and get a second ticket to play free for a share of $15 million. That's 2 chances to win big without ever setting your lineup again. Draft one, get one, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions do apply and void where prohibited. 1 per customer. Enter the Best Ball $15 million headliner contest by September 4th, 2025 to get 1 bonus entry. $20 entry fee required. Reward expires in 30 days. See terms at DraftKings.com/NFL-best-ball, sponsored by DraftKings.